There's going to be the middle-class me witness who will speak formal, who will utilize the formal story structure. I also won't have a lot of nonverbals, and I'll have a larger vocabulary. There will also be the second witness, which will be me from generational poverty. I will utilize the circular story structure, and remember, I'll have more nonverbals, more relational. Let's do the formal middle-class person first. The robbery happened. The officer approaches me. He's going to say something like this. Officer approaches and says, "Ma'am, I heard that you witnessed this crime. Could you please tell me in great detail from beginning to end what happened?" Now, as a middle-class person, I might say, "Yes, sir," "No, sir," "Yes, ma'am," right? Authority. "Yes, officer. I remember it was about 9 a.m. because I remember the radio announcer stating that when I got out of my vehicle. Officer, I proceeded directly through the front doors, directly to the back. I was in the process of opening up the cooler when I heard a commotion up front. I turned. It appeared that a gentleman was robbing the store, so officer, I just took a step back in the corner where I remained until he exited, at which time I called 911 on my cell phone. And the officer might say, "Ma'am, could you please tell me in great detail what that gentleman looked like?" I'd be like, "Officer, I'm sorry, I viewed him for a short period of time. I mean, all I really recall is he had long blonde hair and a denim jean jacket." Now, the officer may question me a little more about this, but let's move on. Eventually, the officer is also going to say, "Ma'am, could you please tell me what type of weapon?" And again, I'd be like, "Officer, I viewed him for a short period of time from the rear. I mean, he was waving his hand profusely. I mean, it was dark in nature. I'm really unsure." And then the officer questioned that a little bit more, but eventually says, "Well, thank you. Here's my card if you think of anything else." Is that pretty middle class? Yes. Woohoo. You should give it up for me. That's hard for me to do. All right. I sweat through that every time. Profusely. Yes. Okay. Now the officer comes up to me. I am from generational poverty. I'm going to have the circular story structure. I'm not going to be chronological. There may be a lot of people in it. I might have a lot of nonverbals. Please do not get hung up on my enunciation or dialect. It changes when I go to South Dakota as well. Okay? So it might go something like this. The officer approaches, same thing. "Ma'am, could you please tell me? I heard you were a witness. Could you please tell me from beginning to end what happened?" And I'd be something like this. "Yeah, I'll tell you what's going on. Here's what's going on. Me and my girls, Jax, we're down here getting some milk. Because I got her 4 kids. Up and down, 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 up and down. On my new damn couch. My couch, I worked 2 jobs for that couch. 2 jobs, and 1 job I didn't even like. Do that. Shoot. You got a sergeant for a boss. That's got to suck to be you. Which, by the way, is your sergeant old mustache face? You know the man who grows hairs right out his nose. Is that your sergeant? Because you got to let him know we are going to just smack him down one of these days. I mean, the way he threw Fred down 2 weeks back, he didn't have to do that. Well, let's get real honest. None of us really like Fred, but ain't none of us going to throw him down like that. You know what I'm saying? But you might want to let him know to lighten up a little bit. And then you know what? I got puke everywhere. Puke here, puke there, puke there. You can't leave puke set. You know you can't leave puke set. I mean, you got kids, they puke. My oldest boy right through his nose. That's his daddy stuff. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, then I was 20 minutes late to work just because I had to clean up the puke. And then I got a boss. That boss got so excited, it reminded me of that lady in the corner. That lady in the corner. Woo! Woo! I'm like, what is the big deal? This guy ain't even going to pop. I'm telling you, he only got a 38. You got a double 4K sitting right there. You know what I'm saying? And Jack's trying to go, that's old man's cousin. That's old man's cousin. I'm saying, that's not old man's cousin. Which, by the way, did I tell you why I got Jax and her 4 kids in my house in the first place? That's because her old man stepped out on her. Where is she? Stepped out on her around the corner with the hoe, but don't tell her I said that because she'd be up in my face. You know what I'm saying about that. But anyway, which, by the way, you know what? When you get done with this, you might want to check on her because she's been busy lately. You know what I'm saying. But anyway, Jack says to me, that's old man's cousin. I said, no, it ain't. She said, yes, it is. I said, no, it ain't. I said, he's in jail. She said, no, he ain't. He's out. She said, that's who's around the corner. That ain't around the corner. You and I both know who's around the corner, but all right. So anyway, I got to get back to these kids. So what you need?